All right, guys, your favorite Barber King Daniel, Mr. Royal Standard, and this is our official first Barbers podcast. You know what it is. We've been waiting to do this podcast for a very long time, but something just came up, and now finally, this is our official first Barber podcast. I welcome you all to the first Barbers podcast. On this episode, we have a lot to talk about, and we have a lot of hosts right here. You understand? And we have a lot of topics to talk about, very interesting topics that will blow your minds. You know what it is. And we have our hosts. We have three hosts, plus me, four. And I'm going to be introducing them one by one because they are very unique and they are very nice persons. And I believe you know them. And if you've not known them, you will know them today. On my right here, I'm having the number one local barber himself, the barber that has a difference, the barber that he stepped into the industry like play, but later on we noticed that he has one kind of vibe that people like. Do you know what it is to have this concept of being a local barber in an international way? This is what we are talking about. He's the local barber. He's none other but the manager of Lakeside Barbershop. Put your hands together for the local barber himself. You know what it is. All right. Thank you very much. You know what we have today is very unique. I told you, and we have our two hosts that are remaining for me to introduce. And we have one of our hosts. She's a very pretty damsel. She's very hot. She got a lot of spice. She got a lot to say. She's a female barber. She has, when you're doing something in an upgraded way and people like what you do, you understand? This is what we are talking about. She has a lot of clients. Clients have been calling her from internationally, both home and abroad. You know what they talk about. We have our one and only Brandy. Put it up for Brandy, my niggas. You know what it is. All right. And we have one of our official one big bills. See, anywhere you see this guy, Bilan, because it's not easy to have a bill in your name and you are classic in your own personality. You know what I mean? And we are having one of our official number one classic. I've learned a lot from this person. I've grown a lot. He has taught me a lot. In fact, being a friend with this kind of person has grown my mind a lot. And he's no other than the number one classic himself. Come on, put your hands together for number one classic himself. You know what it is. You know what it is. You know what it is. All right. Let's just go straight to the point. There's no time to waste. We have been anticipating this podcast for a very long time, and we have a lot to talk about, like I told you. So on this very first episode, we'll be talking about what inspired us to be a barber. There's a lot to talk about here. When you hear the topic of you becoming a barber, what inspired you? People will be thinking, maybe at first you wanted to be a barber before, maybe, or maybe at first you never wanted to be a barber. A lot of talks like that you get. So, but today we'll be noticing that kind of stuff, from each other. We'll be hearing what inspired us, because I believe this is not for only barbers only. These are for entrepreneurs worldwide, because this is the first podcast. This is the first barber podcast worldwide. You've not seen this type before. This is something that will inspire you, grow your mind, and make you want to become something better in life. I'm going to start with Classic, and I'm going to ask you, Classic, what inspired you to become a barber?
Oh, first of all, barber. Well, man, what really inspired me was I had two things that inspired me. First, I would say it's a cousin of mine, more like an uncle, an elder brother to me. So, flashback those days after secondary school, the Nigeria system, you have to wait for like a year, a couple of years before getting admission into the university. So I've just been at home. It's not as if life hard. No, life wasn't hard. At least dad was a civil servant, mom was still working. So that loneliness at home, I never thought of learning anything though. So this is my cousin brother or my uncle in question. The guy was just like, you need to learn a skill, get something doing, learn something, so that at least at the end of the day you'll be earning money from it. At first, I never gave it a thought, but that money aspect, that money aspect now, like, I mean, it's not as if I was lacking, it's not as if I was lacking money or maybe what to wear. At least parents were still providing now, and then I was still young, so I was not like, okay, yeah, I'll give it a thought. So to fast forward the whole thing, I was now thinking of what trade I'm supposed to learn. So what really came to my mind was welder. I don't know, but it just came to my mind like, okay, let me learn welder at least. They are constructing lots of big iron gates and all of that. So I feel money go dey there now. That kind of thing, money go plenty go dey there. That kind of thing. So that was how I was like, okay, let me go for welder. Like now, okay, talk to my dad. Yeah, dad, this is what I come about, and I spoke about it with uncle, and I want to learn a skill. So my dad was this kind of person. You know the civil servants now. Go to school, go to school, go to school. Just go to school, finish, come back,
Yeah.
get a good job in the government power starter, that kind of thing. And maybe the salary, white collar job. Go to school, go to school. Dad did not buy the idea. Like, I was telling him on a Tuesday morning, he was dressed up for work. You know, answer me. You want to learn the skills. You don't want to go to school again. So that was his response. He left. So I talked to mom. Mom buy the idea, but then now waiting head of the family talk. Now it go stand. So then now we went to work. I talked to my uncle. Shout out to Uncle Mine, Iceways. Daddy Amaya is married right now, working in Kaduna, happily married with a baby girl. Shout out to you, big bro, respect. So I went to meet him. I told him, yeah, this is what my dad said. And he said, don't worry. He will give it a second thought and he will accept the whole thing. So now I was now like, so now that my brother, that my uncle then now asked me, but what skills you want? I said, okay, I come up with an idea. He said, which one? I said, I want to learn welder. He said, welder is nice, actually nice. He did not discriminate it, but he said, you just finished secondary school and the way Popsy is talking now, you need to focus on your academic also. So welder is something you need to learn for like at least 2 to 3 years to perfect it very well. So I need a skill, you get. I need a skill that will at least duration of 1 year or 6 months, something I can perfect on time, so that when I get admission into the university, at least I'll know that I've learned the skill. I'm through with it. I have a skill. I said, yeah, that's true. So when I give it a second thought, he now said, how about Barbie? I said, yeah, barbing is cool. And I said, but like, how long it take? He said, if I'm a good learner, I can at least within the duration of 8 months, 1 year, I'll be very perfect in haircut. I said, yeah, that's nice. I like the work. But then, how will I start? Popsy don't kick against that. Who won't pay? And now my bro then, he's just with us. He just finished his university, staying with us, looking for a job. Himself no get money. And Popsy, Momsy no fit carry her money pay something Popsy never approve. You get the check. So everything was just there. So thank God, lucky enough, there's this his friend that was in Kaduna with them together. So he came back to Abuja during the Kaduna crisis and all of that. He's a barber. He came down to Abuja, set up his salon here in Abuja. So one day my uncle now went out for normal strolling now just for workouts. He now came across the guy and now exchanged greetings, and he said he has a salon here now because of the whole fight. He has to relocate down to Abuja. So that was how he met him, and he came back when he was telling me we both get excited and everything now will be easy. And it's somebody that is very close to, he knows him very well. He's been the one cutting his hair all this while. So that was how the connection started. Now, like, okay, I'll talk to him, even if dad is not ready to pay yet, we can still make up the money, pay in installments. To cut the whole story short, I started learning Barber with zero naira, zero kobo. I don't pay shishi. I don't pay shishi. You feel me? So, but
You don't don't break our rules because
oh yeah.
you're supposed to pay money
No, I don't pay money once. No. I do my bad. I did not think the skill actually. The man really understood our predicament because we were open to him. That my uncle and my brother. He told him everything that okay, this is what's going on. He said, okay, no wahala, we should come. Then we should be paying the money in installment. Funny enough, guess how much I paid when I learned my haircut? That was about 2015, 2016. I paid 8,000, no 6,000 naira. And trust me, that money was paid an installment. And I still Popsy paid the money. So that was one of my inspiration. He inspired me in getting a skills.
That's nice.
And I feel right
That's
now it's
nice.
currently helping me because I can imagine how big I am right now in this business, how much I've counted, how much I've entered my account. Man, it's been a good inspiration. Classic Baba. Yeah.
At the beginning, you will be discouraged and there will be a lot, especially from family. Because
Yeah.
most times, family will not allow you to do that bad stuff because they will come on, man.
Yeah, come on, but see, the reason why I get to see the reason why Popsy was discriminating on me going to learn Barber because then they were just covered with the mindset: go to school, come out with good grades,
Yeah.
get a
White
good
collar
job,
job.
white collar
Yeah.
job. So barbering work was so underrated
Yeah.
because you just feel how much is then haircut is 100 naira now, 70 naira
Yeah.
now 100 naira you want to become
They need to
millionaire.
make Baba. They need to make Baba again
Everything
now.
was so underrated then. So that was the reason why Popsy was just kicking against the whole thing. You get? But when I started it, even him, he has no option because what am I doing at home?
No.
It's better for me to be going out there learning something. So that was how he gave it a second thought and he started paying the money. He first of all gave me 4K to go and give my boss. I gave my Oga 4,000. I think I don't. Eh? When I give him the money, he was excited.
Now big money that time.
Yes, now that time I big money, you always excited. How for you? Now many people in the bank.
What year was that?
That was 2016.
Nah, big-
2016.
Now big money now because now that time
2016.
Babi was 20 naira, 100
Babi was 100 naira.
100.
Babi was 100 naira. Kids was 70 naira.
You see?
That time I passed my neighbor generator. If you don't go buy fuel, liter then was how much? So everything there was. So Babi was just so underrated because a few barbers are not. Well, how will I put it? They
That
have-
drop out, the people that didn't go to school.
yeah, they don't feel they are not
They are
up to the standard.
Yeah.
They are daft about life. They don't even know a lot about
Mm.
life and stuff.
Yeah, I just feel they are underrated. They are underrated because me, I won't take it that way. Like maybe they don't know much about life or that. Me, I just feel they are underrated because the income they make from that work is not something don't you understand? You can't chill with the big boys now. Then
At all.
as a barber, I can't chill with the big boys. Now the big boys will come patronize you. Ah, boss, yes, sir, yes. But right now, barbers are big boys.
And you chilling with Baba, you know you are chilling with
Yeah, it's a celebrity.
You know,
That's me with barbers. That's me with barbers, man. There are a lot of big barbers out there, big boys. You don't get. So I feel barbering work was underrated and stuff like that. That was just the reason why Popsy was kicking against the whole team. But thank God. Anyhow, I still manipulate my way with the help of my uncle. Shout out, big bro. Right now, I'm going to do it right now, man.
And you will just counting plenty money.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to this barbering song because even at the beginning, especially for our African parents, we used to have this mentality of if you are a barber or if you are doing any kind of entrepreneurship as of then, because normally you need to start from streets. Now streets get all those things that time. So if you are doing all those things from the street, they'll be looking at you as if maybe you want to be a tout, or maybe you want to just be strolling around the streets. You don't want to be serious in life. You understand? So all those perspectives they then carry. You understand? I don't know if you've had that kind of stuff maybe when you're coming up.